Hey, so with that, I think I'll get going. Thank you all for attending this session. I am so pleased to introduce you to Cynthia Hux, who has been involved in Trent ESL for a very long time and has some exciting opportunities that she's going to share with you. My name is Julianna Stonehouse. I am the Student Experience Coordinator from Careerspace at Trent University. So it's my main focus and job to make sure that I support you guys in your traditional classroom settings, but also that I provide some opportunities for experiences outside of the classroom, so that when you graduate Trent, you can sit in that interview and you can talk about all the wonderful things that you did both inside and outside of the classroom. And I'm so honored to be a part of that. But without further ado, I will turn it over to Cynthia. If you do have any questions, Cynthia has said that she's more than happy to be interrupted throughout the slideshow. So just go ahead and use your Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Type in any questions that pop up in your head, and I will go ahead and facilitate that. And Cynthia is more than happy to take those questions. So Cynthia, without further ado, over to you.
Thank you, Julianna. I'd like to talk about the concept of non-formal learning. Prior to describing the structure of the Learning Centre. And so I would say basically the non-formal learning has two components, and that is dialogue and friendship in relation to the Learning Centre. Adults learn through dialogue, and two components of any effective anti-racist program are always dialogue and friendship. The teaching at the Learning Centre is infused with a social gathering in the sense that tea is served along with fruit and sweets. And occasionally the women enjoy a cooking lesson and learn the vocabulary associated with measurements. And then if we have a Christmas tree, we'll be sitting on the floor around the Christmas tree and playing board games. If you decide that this Learning Centre is for you to volunteer some time, you'll have a variety of clients, probably ranging from students under age 16 to people in the community whose family members are employed in Peterborough and they're here for a short time. So above 40, and prior to COVID, my one of the clients was over 80. And so you'll have wonderful opportunities for this to adapt and to become culturally sensitive to a variety of ages and people from different backgrounds, even newcomers to Peterborough who are staying, not just students. So you'll be provided with the opportunity of engaging with newcomers in the community. Newcomers, as you know, can feel isolated. They felt isolated before COVID came, and now with COVID, people are even feeling more isolated. And I wanted to describe why it interested me. Why did a group of 8 Trent students and a faculty member join in planning this program? I came from a multicultural home, a proper British mother and a European father who was hardworking. And I had diversity training both with Ryerson University and formed my own diversity learning program at CAMH. Then did a placement at Hiawatha First Nations, did a master's in adult ed at St. FX, and my focus was on culture and ESL. And had a great teacher at Trent to obtain TESOL diplomas, and then continued with business administration and Indigenous studies up until 2017. People gain confidence and learn not because there's a teacher and because they are subjects, but because they are listened to. And we complement the programs of Fleming College and PACE and Trent University. Our learning is not necessarily about grammar, although we can provide it, but it's listening to the person, listening to their needs, I would say, humbling ourselves and trying to understand the other person's point of view. So if there's no room for disagreement, if there's no room for discussion, then our conversation can, I guess, drown, because the students are the voice that we want to hear. Yes, our learning center has 4 small rooms. It was a former dental office, so they're well insulated for sound. In the next 6 weeks, windows will be double hung instead of Georgian wired, so that there'll be more increased ventilation. It's a 1904 heritage building, and it's comfortable. There's piped music and tea served, and we want people to feel comfortable to encourage conversation. We focus on materials such as Canadian history, the newspaper. So I expect my teachers to be well read. We want to talk about and listen to the students in their areas of interest, such as health, diet, exercise, their country. At the same time, we're taking notes on areas that can be improved in pronunciation, in grammar, and this is with the learner's permission. I would really appreciate business students from Trent as well, because this learning center, despite the fact that it started in 2014, we can always do with business students who will go into the schools and make Thomas A. Stewart aware of the fact that we have this. And I think if I could describe what it does, picture any culture, Japanese student, Malaysian student in ESL at Fleming College and learning grammar during the day. And at 5 o'clock, back on the bus and going to a home, living with 5 other Mandarin speaking students, and that's what they speak in the evening. So this provides a bonding with a person, with people who will listen, and they will practice what they learned in class. And that's what I think is the real plus. And I think if we can think of informal learning, that's the social learning that's done when we meet a friend on George Street, and let's say a stoplight, and the friend's dog has stopped for the light and sat down, and we think, oh, I've had a problem teaching my animal to do that. And you stop and ask the person, how do you do that? What did you do? And that's informal learning. That wasn't on purpose. You just ran into that person. Whereas non-formal learning, the people arrive at the learning center with a purpose at a set time. There's no diploma granted, but they have a goal that they wish to achieve. And so that's the non-formal learning that happens at the learning center. And it complements the formal learning in other learning programs in the schools. Does anybody have a question at this point? Can you picture it? Can you picture yourself coming in at 5:30, usually being greeted at the door because it's downtown and it's always locked, and you meet your student, maybe hang up their coat, maybe they hang up your coat, and you go and sit at a table, and green tea is served, and you begin a conversation. And I think I'm a great supporter of Jane Vela, learning to listen, learning to teach, and the importance, the way she stresses the ability to divert from the lesson. And I encourage that. You'll have a lesson prepared, and even better, you've prepared the lesson. But if the student wishes to speak about something else, you're able to divert from the lesson. And I think there's a wonderful transfer of knowledge in terms of it's a dynamic relationship between confidence, ESL learning, learning support for the studies, and friendship. And they all work dynamically. If they've got a friend, if a learner has a friend who will listen and encourage, then that builds confidence. And sometimes people want to do well in our community of Peterborough. They want to go further in their job, and they'll be there so that you could help them go further, because you're going to help them pronounce their words a little differently so that people at work will understand what they're saying. I think this quote is a great one, because someplace or someone else to help me use my English. And I remember another student saying, now I know what Thanksgiving is. I didn't know what it was. Now I can go back to school and talk about Thanksgiving with my friends. And I think I've said enough, but oh, I know what I'd like to say. Just to end, I read this morning. It's by Gass. It's hard to see the picture while you're inside the frame. There's a world outside your own, so you must get outside of yourself and see it through the eyes of others. To meet people's needs, you must first find out how they think. And I think that's a great suggestion. Find out how people think. And that's what we do. And we listen to how they speak and assist them that way and care about them. I think I might have spoken a little less than 10 minutes, but
Cynthia, no, this is great. And there's just a couple more slides here, but we do have a question. So is one part of the volunteer, I think we just need a bit of clarification on the volunteering aspect. So is one part of the volunteering creating lessons?
Do you know, Juliana, I would like that. And I think it would be of more profit to the wonderful Trent students that have helped, and they're diligent. I had a telephone call yesterday from a student from last year saying, can I help again? And that's exciting. You know, I can get there on my bike now. I don't live too far away. So yes, I would appreciate that. It is, if there's and there's only a maximum of 4 students, 4 learners. And so if there, again, if business people, business students would like to help develop the Learning Center, it's still developing. It's only 6 years old. So that would be a great opportunity for you to prepare the lesson, especially after you've assessed the person. And I think your assessment, although I give guidelines, is a wonderful opportunity for growth for you as well.
Mm-hmm. We have another question here. So I think this is pertaining to COVID and social distancing. Are the opportunities for volunteering only in person, or do you have anything virtual planned?
I teach students who are Trent students in the fall, and we're back together again on Zoom, but none of these students were at the Learning Center. I think Zoom offers the opportunity to show where the tongue goes, how you look when you sound a word. So I think when we have to wear a mask to teach, it inhibits that. I like that question because the windows are being changed.
Mm-hmm.
The tables are now doors. The 36-inch round tables are now long doors.
Yeah.
With chairs at either end. The rooms are still well divided. The opportunity to answer your question more directly, I have not taught Learning Center by Zoom yet. And that opportunity is possible. I would welcome you to come to the Learning Center and teach from a classroom there if you would like that. And I'm always willing to learn. I think this is new. This is a new thing in Peterborough. This is peer mentoring. If you're a Trent student mentoring a Trent student, this is socialization and friendship. This is helping to grow confidence. And so whatever way is more suitable and helps the student, we would do that.
That's great. So at the Learning Center now, you are set up though with, you know, so you can look through sort of a glass or a plexiglass so you can still see the person's face. Is that what I am to?
Juliana, thank you. Because COVID-19, and I'm a licensed RN,
Mm-hmm.
because COVID-19 is changing, every 2 weeks we see a change. When we're ready to go, when I have the volunteers, I will have the public health in terms of cleansing materials for the reception desk and other areas. Right now, the tables are distant. Sinorama has the plexiglass. The masks are something that I will consult public health about because I really like the transparent.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, and I think the students will as well.
That's great.
I do have 2 mature students who are again in a business in Peterborough who are on loan from their country who I think would like to come back.
Great. And we do have another question. So how do they get in touch with you, or how do they put their application in to volunteer?
Okay, across from the LCBO, beside the fire hall, is the Learning Center with the symbol at the bottom of this slide. That was designed by a Trent student from Italy. That's thumbs up and conversation. So I think it's incredible to me when I think back of all the student involvement in many aspects of the Learning Center. So I still think of it as a student center. My telephone number is on the sign outside, and please, you're welcome to come go and look in the back and see what it's all about. And 748-8497 is on the black portion of this card, area 705. And my email is cynthiahucks@trentu.ca. ESL Center PTBO is you're welcome to use, but right now I'd prefer that you use my Trent email.
Okay.
And Julianna, may I mention that Dr. Jasmine Hamilton is speaking on Sunday evening at 7 o'clock, a biochem student from Trent, about what she's done with her life at Trent and since leaving Trent. And I know she was a research assistant at Princess Margaret and now working for the federal government. And we are beginning Fleming students now, but through the summer months, Trent University students had the opportunity to present how Trent influenced them. Did they experience racism? Did the community welcome them? And so I neglected to say that linking with the community is a focus, almost the focus in improving confidence in ESL learning at the Learning Center.
That's wonderful. And we do have another question here, Cynthia. So what's the expectation for hours that you're expecting volunteers to put in a week? So this is a common question we've had in a lot of our sessions with students trying to balance lots of priorities in their life right now, but also understanding that volunteerism is very important. So just wanting to know what kind of commitment you're looking for.
Thank you. It is generally over the dinner hour. So it's usually Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 5:30 to 7 o'clock. And so it's 3 evenings a week. And I would allow for one interesting thing about the Learning Center is I thought it would be a student, say, on a Monday night or a student on a Thursday night, but not both. But I have found almost without exception that every student, every learner wants to come every evening. So that's kind of exciting.
Oh, it's very exciting. It's testament to the wonderful program that you're offering. If people are engaged and the attendance is high, then that's really heartwarming. That's really lovely.
And I compliment the tutors. I can't believe how many times I've been surprised that the tutor is there and needed no reminding, but coming in the front door happy and ready to go. And I just am so appreciative of the tutors that give their time.
That's lovely. Okay, well, I think we will wrap up there, unless Cynthia, you have any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
I guess again, it's a wonderful opportunity trying to understand the views of other people. So it's a growth time for both the listener and for the student who is sharing their life with us.
That's lovely. Okay, if anybody has any further questions, please feel free to reach Cynthia at the email address that she gave you. That's her Trent email address with any further questions. And in closing, Cynthia, thank you so much for being a part of this. And the students who have attended, thank you also for being a part of this. Make sure you check out the rest of the schedule to see if there's anything that piques your interest for the rest of the day. But Cynthia, thank you. Very, very grateful for your participation.
And thank you for the time for all those who listened.